Rylee, the Yellow Jackets were able to come away with 2 wins last week. Couple of close games, especially at the end there. The team played well in the first half, and then the other team was able to battle back. But talk about the result and kind of how you feel about what the team was able to accomplish in the fourth quarters.
I think our team's gotten better at finishing games and trying to put together 4 total quarters instead of just a couple, and we're still working on that. I think we struggled a little bit with defense our last game, but this week we've really focused on that in practice, so I think that carrying over into our next games, that'll be a big focus for us.
And certainly there was some on-court adjustments that were made, especially in the last game where you came away with a career-high 25. It seemed like you took advantage of the opportunities that were presented.
I think we all try to do that. If we, see something on the court, we just take what we have and try to make it work, and I think that kind of worked out for us this week. And I think putting a whole game together, both offensively and defensively, is what's going to help us win these next couple of weeks, especially because we have some big challenges on the road.
And certainly there were some good things about each game. Free throw percentage against Concordia, and then Western Oregon forcing double-digit turnovers on the other team and getting those points. And actually tying the season high points in the paint was important as well.
Yeah, I guess we don't really think about that stuff in the game, and then afterwards it's pretty cool to hear about and see that we did that. But free throws we've also been working on quite a bit, and that really helps. It doesn't seem like it in the game, but actually it's a huge deal. I think Tiana gets most of her points off of free throws sometimes, which is good for her, and I think it helps with our confidence also in the game. And then as far as turnovers, I think that also will come with our defense, forcing those turnovers and just keeping our intensity up. I think that'll help us also.
We were just talking to Coach about the mental side of the game. Certainly that's going to be important in these next 2 weeks when you're on the road.
Yeah, I think that's another thing we've worked on in practice is doing some drills that are mentally challenging and trying to keep, physically in the game and mentally, and I think that that's a huge aspect of the game also. And so I think that if we can do that coming into these next 2 games, it'll really help us, and hopefully we can come out with a win.
We were also talking about these next 3 games are the top 3 teams in the GNAC.
Yeah, I think right now we're just taking it one game at a time. Both the coaches and all of us, I think that we just look at the next game that's coming and try to focus on playing our best and sticking to the game plan and hoping that that'll make us come out with a win, but we'll see how it goes.
Coach, the Yellow Jackets gritted out a couple of wins at Alterowitz last week. I bet it was nice to see the team have a couple of complete games.
Yeah, it really was. It was nice to play consistent. We scored average 70 for those 2 games and got some nice balanced offense from a lot of people. And also I thought we defended overall pretty good. And it was just a nice weekend to get back on track and gather a couple wins.
Some very exciting moments in each of the games against Concordia. Down at the end there, free throws really came into play. The team made 23 of 24, second best in the program. Talk about your team's focus that night and what they were able to accomplish.
They were very focused. We had a really good first quarter. Overall, a very good first half. Then Concordia made a nice run to get close and then the fourth quarter was just back and forth. I believe they got us down by 3, and Marissa had a really key steal just under 4 minutes and one to tie it up, and could have went either way, but I thought we protected the ball good down the stretch, and like you said, free throw shooting was critical to that win, and to go 23 out of 24 was amazing.
And then against Western Oregon, again, you had a double-digit lead, and they were able to battle back in the second half. You got some key play out of your players in Tiana and Rylee. Rylee had a career-high 25. Talk about those 2 and what they were able to accomplish for you.
They've both stepped up their play. They've been consistent over the last few weeks, and their roles have expanded, not just from a leadership role, but also just from a performance. We really need them to play at a high level. They're playing major minutes, and they have great, I think, mental toughness, because I know physically that they're definitely being pushed, but they really came up big for us. Rylee took what the defense gave her, and she doesn't usually shoot that many times, but the offense that night, that's the way it dictated, and we used her, and she did a great job. and again, to win another close game was important. I really liked our first halves of both nights. The last couple of weeks, I would say we struggled more in the first half, so we got off to good starts. You want to continue that in the third quarter, but the other team they're good teams. They made a run, but we finished both games down the stretch and won close games, and I think that will help us down the stretch as well.
And the team was honored with the GNAC Team of the Week with their 2 wins. I'm sure it was great to see the team come together and really produce what you've been hoping for them to do.
Yeah, I'm really happy for our players to be recognized by the GNAC. I think that's good for them. Kudos to them. I know it felt good when you told them that, and I'm proud of them, and for the improvements they've made over the last few weeks, and hopefully we can continue to take a step forward.
So would you say this next 2 weeks may be some of the toughest games on your schedule? You're playing the top 3 teams in the GNAC on the road.
Yeah, that's definitely the hardest part on paper of our schedule. Like you just said, the top 3 teams, there's a separation after those teams. I mean, they're the elite teams of the year, and it's hard to just say, hey, you're going to win them all. I mean, I don't know if that's realistic, but what I do want is that we continue to get better, and we don't beat ourselves. So if we can play at a high level and the other team plays at a higher level, then I can live with that. But I definitely want us to play well, continue to improve, and we'll see what happens.
And even though they're ahead, there is some equanimity. There's been some upsets this year, and certainly anything can happen in a GNAC game.
Yeah, there's going to be some jockeying for positions late in tiebreaker, and obviously head-to-head's always the first one. But if some team that's tied for whether around the middle of the pack, if one of us could break through and have a win against an elite team, that could be the difference. So you just got to keep going and hope for the best. But we're excited about the opportunity.